Reeves Immigration Law Group now brings you Immigration Law on Your Side.
Magandang gabi mga kababayan, narito na naman po ang inyong Immigration Law on Your Side, brought to you by Reeves Immigration Law Group. And every Wednesday po tayo mga kaibigan dito sa PHLV Radio. We are on the Amazon Fire TV channel as well. And we're live on the PHLV Radio app and on demand on iHeartRadio. And we're also on Spotify, TuneIn, and Apple Podcasts. Mga kaibigan, when it comes to U.S. immigration, we live in a time of tremendous uncertainty, lalo na ngayong panahon ng pandemya. You know, policy changes in immigration can be very swift as a tweet of our president. And sometimes agencies are slow to catch up. Siyempre, kung pabago-bago, mahirap humabol. And more often, ang mga cases sa immigration courts and sa mga offices, sometimes ay medyo nadidelay. And sometimes for months or even years beyond the expected completion. And alam naman natin na itong mga delays na ito, mga kababayan, you know, it separates families. You know, yung mga anak, yung mga parents, and sometimes it also deprives people of permanent residency or citizenship dito po sa US. And sometimes, the best option is to take the government to court or sue for action. Alam mo sa ating mga Pilipino, sometimes this is a wild idea. But of course, to help us navigate through this option, kasama natin si Attorney FJ Diza ng Reeves Immigration Law Group, nagagaling po sa Bay Area. Magandang gabi po, Attorney Diza.
Good evening, Kuya Yo, at lahat ng viewers and listeners natin. Magandang gabi sa inyong lahat. Happy Wednesday at we're almost end of July, so mag-August na po tayo.
Mm-hmm. So, mga kababayan, ito pong nabanggit natin sa ating intro na you can sue the government if medyo tumatagal ang ating mga kaso sa immigration. For most of us Filipinos, culturally, this is a wild thought, but this can be done. Attorney, what can a person do if an immigration application is pending much longer than it should be?
Yes, Kuya, I totally agree with you nung nabanggit mo na it's a wild idea, and a lot of kababayan natin would say, Attorney, huwag na lang, you know, baka balikan ako, di ba? yung mga ganong isipan na baka i-deny ako o balikan ako. And we always encourage them, lalo na yung mga masyado na matagal, unreasonable delay, right, to bring the action dahil meron naman silang karapatan. So yung tanong mo, Kuya Yo, you know, unang-una syempre yung anong gagawin natin kung yung ang petition is pending for a very long time already. Of course, sasabihin natin sa mga client natin, be patient, right? Patience is virtue, sabi nga. At, sasabihin natin sa kanila that tingnan natin yung processing time. So, sa mga kababayan natin na may mga applications sa USCIS, meron hong yung sa website ng USCIS, nakalagay doon yung processing time. So, halimbawa po, pinipetition nyo yung asawa nyo sa Pilipinas, nag-file po kayo ng immigrant petition I-130 and you are a citizen. Nakalagay doon sa website kung ano yung processing time. Let's say, from the time you file up to yung approval nila. So, example yan is 6 months. So, makikita mo yun o final mo ng January, June na wala pa. So, yung mga petition naman na over 21 na yung mga bata, usually mga 2 taon, 3 taon yan, bago i-approve. Total anyway, ang kanilang priority date will not come in, in 10 to 15 years pa. So okay lang na medyo matagal yung approval. Pero yung mga immediately available ang visa, at nakita po ninyo doon sa processing time na beyond processing time na. So what we usually tell our clients is, of course, follow up natin. Gagawin pa natin yung mga sinasabi natin na mga administrative remedies muna, di ba? So follow up muna, tapikin muna natin ng immigration. Hey, immigration officer, beyond processing time na to. Ano na ba status nito? So, usually sa opisina namin, we come up every 2 months to 3 months, to 6 months, para lang itapikin ang immigration. Now, kung wala pa rin, Kuya Yo, may mga paraan din ang mga immigration lawyers kagaya namin na membro ng American Immigration Lawyers Association, yung sinasabi natin AILA. So meron tayong liaison dyan and we reach out to them as well kasi sila yung may direct contact sa USCIS. So yun yung pangalawa. Either sulatan natin ang immigration, email, tawagan, sulatan. Kung wala pa rin, itatap din natin yung mga miyembro na EHILA At pangatlo, pwede rin ho nating itap yung ating congressman. Nangyayari yan, Kuya Yo, kasi siyempre, lalo na kung malapit ng election, ano? At tawag nito, siyempre, constituent ka, US citizen ka, di ba? So you tap your congressman and your senator at sabihin mo sa kanila briefly through the assistance ng abogado kung ano yung status ng kaso, bakit masyado nang matagal. So sila naman sumusulat sa USCIS at ang USCIS nagre-respond din kung bakit medyo matagal. So then kapag hindi pa rin, umubra sa mga paraan na ginamit at masyado nang matagal at gustong-gusto pa ninyong ma-approve yung case and reunite your family, and consider po ninyo ang lawsuit sa USCIS or against USCIS to compel them to act on your pending application that has been pending for a very long time.
So suing the government. What are the options, attorney, na meron tayo? Anong klaseng mga lawsuits ang pwede nating maihatag sa gobyerno?
So dalawa yan. So let's say ang USCIS is sitting on your case for indefinitely or a very long time. You sue them through what we call mandamus and declaratory relief. So ito yung dalawang scenario where you can bring these lawsuits against them, and ito'y hindi ho immigration judges. Ano ang pagdadalhan natin yung lawsuit, kundi circuit judges, mga federal judges yan na sometimes, they may or may not know the immigration law. That's why you need to explain to them why you're entitled to such relief. Now, Kuya, yung mga isusumo dyan, hindi lang yung USCIS, of course, yung mga head. So let's say si Cuccinelli sa Department of Homeland Security or sa USCIS, sa CAC sa USCIS, at saka yung District Director, yung Department of State, lahat yan, ininame mo yan. Or even the Attorney General, si William Barr. So I just filed then a lawsuit during this pandemic, against Barr. And fortunately, the government agreed to put this on hold pending a US Supreme Court decision. So these government officials are being sued in the capacity, right, including their offices that they hold. So lahat huyaan isusumo sila.
Mandamus option. Pag-usapan po natin, attorney, itong mandamus option na ito. What exactly does this lawsuit seek?
Yeah, itong mandamus na to, as the term it connotes, ewan ko sa ibang lengguwahe o dialekto, ang mandamus kasi it's like mandar or mandate, right? So Ilocano mandar is yung utos. You compel them to act, because the government has the obligation to do. So yun yung gagawin mo dyan. You compel them to act on your application. Hindi ibig sabihin po nito, mga kababayan, na i-approve mo yung case ko, hindi ganon. You need to decide on my case because it's beyond, way beyond the processing time. So sa mga kababayan natin, hindi ibig sabihin na approve mo yung petition ko at may green card na ako. It doesn't mean that way. So gagawa lang silang the decision whether to approve the case or to deny the case. But most likely, if you bring a lawsuit, siyempre, di ba, ang expectation mo yan, of course, is to get an approval. Kasi nga, gusto mo nang mag-reunite. That's one of the reasons. But it doesn't mean that you will approve the case. Just compel them, the USCIS officer, to decide your application.
So if you get a favorable decision, if you win in a mandamus lawsuit, ano po ang nagiging benepisyo nito sa ating mga kababayan?
So yes, once you bring the lawsuit sa district court, and also you're naming these government officials in the capacity as opisyales ng USCIS, right? And then if the government, for example, most of the time din dito, mga kababayan natin, hindi na tayo matatapos yung kaso. So if the government attorney, we call it the government attorney, magre-respond on behalf of the government officials, there's may mga abogado din sila, di po ba? So pagkita nila na very meritorious yung kaso mo, minsan ayaw na nilang tapusin yung case, right? Because one of your prayers, yung relief mo na dadasal mo, or what do you call this, like sa mga relief na i-request mo sa appellate justices, is that babayaran yung attorney's fees, babayaran ko ano yung damages. So magkakaroon ka ng pera, kung matatapos yung kaso at at the justices, circuit justices agrees in your favor. hindi lang Kuya Yo ibibigay sa iyo ang green card or yung benefit na nire-require sa iyo, kundi they can also impose penalties or professional fees against the government for that unreasonable delay. So those are the two things that possible scenario. Now, hindi ho ang appellate or circuit judges ang magbibigay ng green card mo, pero sasabihin lang na AUSCIS decide this case. So then you get the result. Pabalik at babalik pa rin ho yung kaso po ninyo sa USCIS, right? O Department of State kung saan nakapending yung case nyo para desisyonan. Sila pa rin ho ang mag-i-issue ng green card po ninyo.
Mhm.
So yan ang benefit, Kuya Yo. Kasi instead na maghintay ka ng another 6 months, another 1 year, another 3 years, or another forever, right? Walang katapusan na paghihintay, magkakaroon ka na ng result. I would say this sa mga kababayan natin na may mga delays o matagal na yung mga cases nila na hindi ho taken against you yan. Right? When you sue them, you're just bringing a right that's afforded to you by law, na sinasabi ng batas na ang petition sa halimbawa sa pamilya o sa asawa is within the 6 months lang, or pag nag-file po kayo ng citizenship, for example, no? And then natapos ang interview, pumasa naman po kayo ng English reading and writing at civic test at wala namang issue sa citizenship mo, right? At saka wala pang ug-taking mo. Usong-uso to, Kuya Yo, nung in-impose nila yung FBI check, di ba? Sasabihin nila ang FBI may kasalanan yan, di pa bumabalik yung kanyang fingerprint results kung meron siyang criminal records. Wala ka nga namang criminal records, but they're still waiting yung green light from the FBI na clear tong taong to. So at that time, umaabot ng 2-3 taon yan. In fact, ang batas ay sinasabi lang dito that after the interview, USCIS should decide your case within 90 days. And that's basically 3 months, right? So kung years na umabot yan, sa tingin nyo wala namang issue sa case nyo, you can always bring a lawsuit and compel them to decide, and to grant your citizenship.
Mhm. So mga kaibigan, isa sa mga options ang mandamus lawsuit. Attorney, nabanggit nyo kanina yung isa pang type of lawsuit na pwede nating gawin, itong declaratory relief. Can you talk a little bit more about this one?
Yes, parang mandamus lang din yan, that you bring the action before the appellate courts, appellate justices, where you are asking the judge to tell the government how to apply the law, right? Kasi minsan the government might be grossly misapplied the law and finds that the immigrant is not eligible for visa, although according to the immigration and nationality law, it's a clear entitlement or clear right nung applicant to have the green card or to get approved the citizenship or naturalization. So if they say na we deny your case because according to the INA, ito yung interpretation nila. But if their interpretation is grossly inaccurate or grossly wrong, then you can also bring this kind of cases. Kasi kung mag-a-appeal ka, Kuya Yo, minsan ang other relief mo dito is that let's say na-deny ka ng application mo, right? What are the options, right? Kung let's say na-deny. Now sometimes immigration attorneys would just say, we just refile mo na lang natin kasi nagkamali yung aplikante dahil they tried it themselves o nag-hire sila ng abogado na hindi rin alam ang ginagawa, right? Na nagkaroon ng request or kulang yung mga documentation and it was denied. So then they come to you and what are your relief? You can tell them you can refile. The other option would be to appeal, appeal the case or file a reconsideration. So reconsideration, kung mali naman yung immigration talaga, na hindi nakita na, submit mo na pala yung birth certificate mo at sinabi wala kang birth certificate, if you have proof that it was submitted, you can request for reconsideration or reopening or even appeal, on some other cases. Now, if and when, for example, i-exhaust mo pa rin yan, dininay ka pa rin yan at maling-mali sila sa pag-interpret ng batas, right? Then you can also, kasi kung i-refile mo yan, right, or i-open mo ulit, they will do the same thing, Sometimes we're hoping that, another officer might look this case differently, pero, most of the time, if there's already a decision from the same department, the same agency, the same office, and then they will just affirm the denial and parrot the prior denial. So what we recommend is bring that lawsuit because of the gross misapplication of the law, and then we can bring a declaratory relief as well. so that the appellate justices would review, whether or not there was indeed a gross misapplication of law.
Mhm. So, mga kababayan, if you have such a case, whether it's with the Reeves Immigration Law Group or any other attorney or law firms, kung tumatagal, ito, dalawa ang inyong pupwedeng magawa, ang mandamus lawsuit or ang declaratory relief. Pwede po kayong makontak attorney ng ating mga kababayan kung ngayon nalaman nila na pwede pala nating gawin ito. They can contact you to do this on their behalf, ano po?
Yes, our offices in San Francisco, Las Vegas. We have an office in Makati and China. We bring this kind of cases, and a good example of this that I've done, I think 2 years ago, where yung sibling petition Kuya Yo, right? Nag-file siya noong 1984, if I remember it correctly. Final niya sa 4 niyang kapatid ng petition. And we all know na ang petition sa kapatid takes 20 years, right?
Matagal.
So dumating yung pinakakahintay na what do you call this, na priority date. So nakatanggap yung isang kapatid ng sulat saying that, okay, you can now begin processing the case, magbayad ka na ng affidavit support and submit a civil document. So ginawa niyo yun. Yung 4, yung 3, hintay ng hintay. And then they even wrote, then yung sinabi natin, nag-follow up, sumulat, nag-hire ng attorney, nag-hire din, sumulat sa congressman and senator, Walang nangyari. Ang sabi ng immigration, we don't have your file and we destroyed it because you never responded to us. Pero makita natin na may mga follow-ups siya. So they came to us and I said, well, we just bring a lawsuit. Right? It's unacceptable. In fact, ang ginawa muna namin nga sana is that, okay, i-petition natin. Kung nawawala yung petition mo sa USCIS, right? I-petition ulit natin. Pero we request them na i-recapture yung 1984. So instead na bigyan tayo ng 2008, sasabihin natin na it's your fault. I-recapture natin, sige, bigyan namin ulit sa yung mga documents. Pero gusto namin 1984 ang priority date para ma-approve na kaagad, makarating kaagad dito. But USCIS didn't budge, 2008 pa rin ang binigyan na priority date. Right? So another 20 years, Kuya Yo. So that's gonna be like 2050 na by that time, right? So it's not right. So we bring the lawsuit and wala pang 30 days, Kuya, to nag-email yung government attorney saying that, all right, we're going to recapture the priority date, approve natin itong kaso. It's a long delay. You could just imagine 4 yung kapatid. At lahat ng mga anak, Kuya Yo, na umabot na ng mga 20, 30 years old, nadala din because yung approval is kailan lang, di ba? So we're so happy to have that approved. We didn't even have the full litigation, right? Dahil nga pumayag ng gobyerno and they said, okay, they ordered the USCIS, under California Service Center na, okay, recapture the priority date, approve the case, and forward the case to Manila for processing. So the family was so happy, everyone was so excited and thrilled na na-interview sila, nakarating sila dito. The other 3 siblings, their spouses and the children were able to come here, and happily in the United States now because of that lawsuit.
Wow.
That's a very classic example, right? Yung delay and misapplication of the law.
Mm-hmm. Yan mga kaibigan, and many other success stories pwede nyong malaman sa website ng Reeves Immigration Law Group. For more information, that's www.rreeves.com and their phone number 1-800-795-8009. Mga kaibigan, patuloy po kayo nakikinig sa Immigration Law on Your Side on PHLV Radio. Hatid po sa inyo ng Reeves Immigration Law Group. Attorney, we're gonna head over to a break. When we come back, we're gonna ask you some of the updates na nangyayari in the immigration world. But before we do that, baka meron po kayong ibang gustong idagdag tungkol dito sa topic na pinag-uusapan natin.
Yes, balikan ko yung nabanggit natin kanina that it's a wild idea sa mga kababayan natin, but it's a very, very strong and reliable relief, right? Even just the simple thought of, sending these government officials a threat, threat for a lawsuit, right? So it's very helpful as well. Those are the means when you hire an attorney para alam yung nangyayari. because you already exhaust all the remedies, right? Follow-ups, calls, InfoPass, you even went to the USCIS to personally follow up your case, pero wala pa rin, they sit down on your case. If you think that you are clearly eligible sa benefit, petition sa pamilya, sa asawa, sa anak, sa yung mga kapatid, sa magulang, or citizenship, right? Na eligible naman po kayo na mag-naturalize it. It has been pending for a very long time. It's really important to consult an attorney to discuss this option. This is, as I said, a very strong, very reliable option to file a mandamus and declaratory relief against USCIS.
Mhm. Okay, so maraming salamat, Attorney, for that very valuable information. Sa mga kababayan, magbabalik po ang Immigration Law on Your Side dito po sa PHLV Radio. Diyan lang po kayo.
Reeves Immigration Law Group has been representing immigrants for nearly 40 years. Reeves Immigration Law Group has been fighting for its clients through experience and expertise. With immigration lawyers you can access at reasonable fees, even on Saturday. Payment plans are also available. Call us for your immigration solutions. We can do worldwide telephone and Skype consultations. Reeves Immigration Law Group, 1-800-795-8009. Reeves Immigration Law Group has offices in Los Angeles, San Francisco, China, and Philippines. See us at www.rreeves.com. Reeves Immigration Law Group, 1-800-795-8009.
Mga kababayan, welcome back to Immigration Law on Your Side, brought to you by Reeves Immigration Law Group. Right here at PHLV Radio, we're on this radio channel every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Pacific Time. And you can watch us on the Amazon Fire TV channel of PHLV Radio, and as a podcast also on iHeartRadio, Spotify, TuneIn, and iTunes or Apple Podcasts. Balikan po natin si Attorney Flomi Javier Diza. At Attorney, ano po ang mga updates ngayon sa immigration?
Yes, unahin muna natin, Kuya, yung mga reopening ng mga government offices, ang USCIS. As we mentioned during our last episode, nagkaroon na po ng gradual reopening. So may mga calls na for oath ceremony sa mga na-approve na hindi natuloy ang kanilang oath-taking. Mayroon na pong mga citizenship or naturalization interviews. So kung may mga representative po kayo, right, may mga abogado, okay po sila appear before or mag-appear telephonically, meaning through telephone. Pwede po yun. Yung mga family-based, kagaya ng spousal or 751, wala pa hong mga interviews sa karamihan ng mga offices, but yun ang susunod nila by the month of August. Immigration courts po ay na-extend ulit ang kanilang opening. The immigration courts are still yung mga non-detained, yung mga wala sa kulungan, yung mga respondents, they are closed until August 7 for any hearings. But also check out your local, kung may mga cases po kayo, check out yung local immigration courts po ninyo, because even if this is the majority courts na close until August 7, may mga open din. And then yung mga embassies worldwide, sarado pa rin ho, kasama dyan ang US Embassy in Manila. So wala pang mga interviews ngayon. If you are waiting for the interviews, maging yung pinag-usapan natin, patience po tayo, because we cannot do anything. In fact, we cannot sue them now because of the pandemic, right? And compel them na karoon ka na ng interview. You can't do that because of the pandemic. That's number one. And number two also is because of the ongoing, if you remember po, mayroon ng suspension of the entry of immigrants. So yan po, kahit mag-reopen po ang mga consulates and embassies worldwide, hindi pa ho sila mag-i-issue ng visa until after December 31. So yun po ang tignan ninyo, with the exception of course kung kayo po ay nasa medical field, and you are a registered nurse, medical doctors, professional, physical therapists, or even caregivers, siguro pwede nating pasok sa mga exemption once the embassy reopens. So, yun po mga updates po natin sa mga reopening po ng government offices.
Mga kaibigan, if you're watching us on demand on any of the platforms, these information, they're current as of July 22nd, mga kaibigan, 2020. At pinag-uusapan namin ni Attorney ang mga updates regarding sa immigration. Over the past few days, Attorney, nagkaroon ng, as we always say, ang immigration is very dynamic, it's fluid, it's exciting. So over the past few days, nagkaroon ng mga updates, Attorney, sa balita. Lamang loob ng balita ang immigration, especially the issue regarding those students na muntik ng hindi na po pwede sanang nandito kung mag-o-online lamang sila because of the pandemic. Attorney, can you give us an update regarding this issue?
Yes, there was a memo from the president in the White House that says people or students who are, or schools that requires online only, right, for the foreign students and those are under student visa, ay hindi na pwedeng, mag-extend yung kanilang stay dito and they should go home, right? And, this kind of proclamation, Kuya Yo, at this time of pandemic, you cannot just force people to go home kasi may sarili-sariling closures ang mga bansa, di ba? For example, ang Pilipinas, may mga quarantine din yan, yung India. So how can you force them to go home, at this point in time? And not only that, mawawalan sila ng status and marami sa mga client o sa mga student visa, naghihintay lang din ng priority date. We have many clients who are waiting for the visa availability, kanilang petitions. If you remember, kahit naging current ang EB3 in July, right, until December of last year, nag-retrogress ulit siya ngayon. So yung mga iba nag-switch muna o nag-extend. People who are under student visa, kumuha pa rin ng extension or another I-20 para lang ma-maintain ang status, because once they fell out of status, they're not going to get the green card here, kung may violation of status sila. So that's a very good thing because only recently then the president rescinded yung kanyang proclamation order. So now yung mga nasa student visa, it's a very good news for you, for all of you and your family, that you can stay here even if your school offers an online studies, right? So you can maintain the status and do what you're doing, and wait for your priority date to become available, or find an employer that would change your status from student to an H-1B or any other working visa.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So, mga kaibigan, tumutok lamang sa ating immigration law on your side for those kinds of information. And surely, even in between shows, if there are updates regarding immigration, paki-like lamang po, i-follow ang FJ Diza, U.S. Immigration Attorney, ang Facebook page po ni Attorney Diza, o ang Facebook page ng Reeves Immigration Law Group. Surely, they will be posting a lot of updates there on their Facebook pages, Attorney. So, Attorney, are there any other updates in regards to immigration?
Yeah, briefly lang yung sa DACA. I know we made a lot of discussions. Supreme Court, said that the termination was invalid. So then, babalik tayo sa original DACA. So many applicants, yung mga first time, Kuya Yo, kasi marami pa rin dyan yung nag-turn 17 ba yun or 16, kasi kung below that age lang, hindi pa sila pwede mag-file. So yung mga ganon pwede na mag-file. May mga rejections ang USCIS despite the US Supreme Court decision, right? And in fact, nagkaroon na naman ng sa immigration community when President Trump said na bibigyan ng pathway to citizenship mga DACA recipients, I think 2 days or 3 days ago. So people were confused because he was saying, okay, walang release sa mga DACA, i-terminate niya, sasabihin niya bibigyan ng path to citizenship. So everybody got excited, but a lot of us think that, well, maybe, I don't know, right? Maybe kamali siya or something is true. Mukhang hindi naman siya magbibigay ng path to citizenship. In fact, he was considering to terminate that. But the good thing about the initial application for DACA, Kuya Yo, is that, may some judge sa Maryland that says compelling, USCIS to accept, kasama sa mga discussion natin, mandamus and declaratory relief, to mandate them, to order them to accept applications because there's a duty on them to do that. That's their duty. So those are the actions taken. And sa mga kababayan natin na natatakot pa rin mag-file, yung mga especially yung new applicants, may kilala kayo, it's a good idea to file now, right? File now, and of course for those people who are in DACA status, then pa-expire yung kanilang status, it's a good idea to also renew your applications. So isa sa yun sa mga updates natin, at i-update din natin briefly mga kababayan natin tungkol sa government follow ang USCIS. There's a news that 13,000 employees, basically 2/3 sa mga USCIS federal employees will be furlough effective August 3 kung wala pong funding ng Congress. So ano ibig sabihin yun sa mga kababayan natin na kapwedeng ang applications? Although sabi natin we can continue filing kasi hindi naman sila sarado. Ang sarado lang at that point yung in person, yun yung gradual reopening nila, pero yung application ng immigrant benefits kagaya ng pag-file ng petition sa mga kamag-anak at mga pag-file ng citizenship or any other applications kagaya ng U visa or battered spouse or any kind of applications, open pa yan. Kaya lang with the pandemic at sa magkakaroon ng follow, we also expect that there might be some sort of delay. Ang hope natin is that the government will fund USCIS before August 3 para tuloy-tuloy po ang serbisyo ng USCIS at mag-decide at mag-approve ng immigration benefits. On the other hand, ang immigration judges din, ang Attorney General Barr, right, appointed around 46 yata immigration judges nationwide. So we can just imagine then na more removal siguro ang gagawin nila at mabilisan ang mga nasa immigration courts, which is a good thing sa mga clients na may mga good relief, but not a good thing for people who are waiting for immigration benefits. So that's going to make total of around 500 plus immigration judges worldwide. So yun ang updates po natin sa immigration, and as nabanggit ni Kuya Yo, you need to check our website at www.outreach.com and also sa aming mga Facebook pages and other social media accounts. Ulitin din natin sa ngayon, ang opisina po namin ay nagbibigay ng free, libre po yan, legal consultation sa ating mga kababayan, right? We can do your consultation via Zoom, kagaya ng ginagawa namin ni Kuya Yo, and also with the telephone. We don't accept in-person consultations yet. Right? We want to be a part of the solution of this pandemic at sana po matapos na ito.
Maraming salamat, Attorney. And sa mga kababayan, kung meron po kayong mga katanungan, yan, narinig nyo naman po si Attorney. Free consultation ngayon. 1-800-795-8009. And for the other numbers and locations, nandoon po sa www.rreeves.com. So, Attorney, maraming salamat for the updates. I'm sure ang ating mga listeners and viewers na-enlighten sila sa maraming mga issue na i-update natin ngayon. And of course, yung topic natin kanina na, for some of us, it's really a wild idea to sue the government, pero pwede pala ito para mapabilis ang desisyon ng inyong mga kaso. So, Attorney, maraming salamat again. And I'll give you this floor, Attorney, if you have any other announcements.
It's my pleasure, Kuya Yo, at maraming salamat din at sa mga kababayan natin, continue watching us and other programs of PHLV Radio, lalo na most of us are nasa bahay, right? Continue to update yourself with regard to immigration and what's the other very important social issues at PHLV Radio, and entertaining as well. And sana po lahat po tayo, we are on this together, sa pandemic, do our part, wear your masks, observe social distancing, lahat yan po ulit-ulit, but I think that's the key naman dito, di ba? And also practice washing our hands 20 seconds, etc., to make sure that this pandemic that we are in together, hindi lang sa America, it's a worldwide thing. So we're hoping and praying that this soon will be over. Gradually reopening na tayo, but we're turning back a little bit, stepping back again because of the growing number of infected. So hopefully nasa mabuti po kayong kalagayan lahat at maraming salamat ulit sa inyong lahat. Magandang gabi at mabuhay.
Maraming salamat po, Attorney FJ Diza. Nanggagaling po siya mga kaibigan sa Bay Area dito sa California. At nanggagaling po naman dito sa studios ng PHLV Radio dito po sa Maryland Parkway, dito po sa Las Vegas, Nevada. Ito po si Kuya Yo para sa inyong Immigration Law on Your Side. Hatid po sa atin ng ating mga kaibigan from Reeves Immigration Law Group. Again, every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Pacific, dito po sa PHLV Radio. So, hanggang sa susunod po, we'll see you next time.
Reeves Immigration Law Group has just brought you Immigration Law on Your Side. Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Pacific on PHLV Radio.